Good morning, everybody. Here we are going on day 4 of getting this pile processed and ready to be crushed. I'm gonna hop up here in the machine. It is raining today, and I feel like I need to explain this project a little bit better after the comments on the first video. So let's get up here out of the rain and I'll explain it a little bit better. All right, so got the machine warming up here, and I'm gonna take a couple minutes to explain this project a little bit better because evidently a lot of people couldn't grasp exactly what I'm doing here. So I've done a lot of work for this customer in the past. I built that big pond and everything, the road, and where I did the shop, and pretty much where that machine right there just came from. And he owns this farm down here. This was a old hog farm, and it was like 50 years old, completely outdated, and it just needed to be tore down, and it's going to be rebuilt into probably chicken houses. So all these buildings were tore down by somebody else. All the concrete, well, half the concrete was here, the other half's back there in the back, was brought over here to be stockpiled for a company that was going to come in here and crush it. They told them just to dump it all in a big pile right here, and they would sort through it. Long story short, they never came back out here or came out here to crush it up, and it's been months and months and months. And we need this stone on that project to build some roads and some other projects that he has as well. All this material, this farm probably needs some stone as well. It makes cost-effective sense to use the concrete right here instead of burying it, hauling it off, or do whatever to crush it into a product that can be used for road-based material, which is the same material that I got like almost 20 loads from a couple months ago when I did that other road over there. So we run out of material, we need more. And it pretty much come down to I was gonna have to come over here to do it to be able to get more material. So that's why I'm over here doing it. I am not crushing it into driveway material with this wrecking ball, people. I am literally processing this stuff down into a size that will fit in the crusher. It's a big crusher, it'll take big stuff, but you can't put a 5-foot chunk of concrete in there and it do anything. It has, you know, restrictions on the size of material that'll fit in it. This is a good size right here. This stuff right here is a perfect size. You can throw that in there just as fast. This is broke up more because I've come up and down a lot right here, and it's crunched up a little bit more, but this is a good size material that'll fit in there. I think it'll take about 28 inches wide by like maybe 3 feet long or something like that. So it's a pretty good size material in there, but you know, that doesn't look that big, but that piece right there is like 4.5 feet long. So I mean, I've got to go in there and break that up and all that. There's 2 types of crushers. There's a jaw crusher, which is made for big stuff like this, with rebar and all that, but you end up with a product that is too big to use for a road base. You end up with like 2 to 6 inch diameter rocks, and you can't fine grade a driveway with 6 inch diameter rock in it. So I'm going to impact crusher, which does the same thing. It breaks it down into a smaller material, dust to the 3/4 inch or the 1.5 inch material like in that pile over there, but it doesn't like rebar as much. Yes, you can put rebar in it, but you cannot put, well, you can put a 20-foot piece of rebar in there, but it's going to get wrapped around their drum. There's a big drum in there with hammers in it that beat the crap out of it, turn it into, or pulverize it, and that rebar just get wrapped around that drum. You end up in there with a torch trying to cut it all out. So yes, it is very important that I get as much rebar out as possible. These little pieces here and there are fine and dandy, but that whole pile of all those hog slats, which were, the hog slats were inside these barns, they're like pretty much concrete grates in the floor, so that all the waste, the hog waste, would go down through the floor. You wash it out, and that's what kept the pigs up above it. So that stuff is full of rebar. I can probably smash that down a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like 2 dump truck loads, and it's not worth the time it would take to try to get 2 tons of concrete out of that. So that is the plan for this. I'm not set up to do concrete crushing, but for a good customer, I was willing to do so to kind of keep everything on schedule. Yes, I could have rented a hammer. A hammer is very expensive, and that's just an unnecessary cost that I didn't want to have to eat to break this up when I literally have a wrecking ball that is what was used to do this stuff back in the day before hydraulic hammers were invented. So it's a little bit primitive, but it does the exact same thing. And just trying to keep all this on a cost you know, we got a budget here to stay within, because let's face it, if it costs more to crush the concrete up than it does to buy stone, it's kind of silly to do so. So definitely got to keep total cost in mind, because I know a lot of people don't understand what stuff costs. But for example, I'm not going to say what the crusher costs, but you could buy a brand new car for what that crusher costs to rent for a month. So it gets very expensive right quickly, and got to keep it, like I said, within the budget here. So first things first, it's raining today, and we transferred all that over there yesterday. I'm going to go out there and break up those few big pieces that are left, put the bucket back on, go ahead and get all this transferred over here, and then all that's left right there is to go over there and lay that over one more time, break through it, and then work on that pile back there in the back. So figure probably another 2 days, 2.5 days with this right here, maybe 3, and this should be good to go. I did figure this would take about a week to go through and process down to the right size, so everything's looking pretty good. Oh, and the best comment was, "Oh no, you're hurting the machine." This is an 80,000 pound machine swinging a 5,000 pound ball. I think it can handle it. I've dug a lot of stumps up with this machine. It is far more stressful on the pins and bushings digging up stumps with this machine up on its tippy toes trying to pry a stump out of the ground, versus it just sitting right here picking up 5,000 pounds and dropping it. Now, would you want to do this every day, all day? Absolutely not. It would get a little boring, and it probably would tear something up eventually. But for the 15, 16 hours it's going to take to complete this project, I think it's fine and dandy. Sometimes you just got to use what you got. Because if it was up to half of these people, they would spend 95% of the job's cost in rental equipment, and then complain why they don't make any money. Just got to use what you got. Might look a little primitive, but if you watch in the time lapse, it is actually really effective. Not quite as precise as a hammer, by no means, but it works. And I fully understand about the tire doodad. That's what was on it when I got it. But this is a choker strap here, and it's not exactly easy to put one on there. And if you look, there's really not a whole lot of shock load. I literally pick it up and drop it. That takes all the shock, and then I pick it back up and I drop it again. There's not a whole lot of jarring unless I just kind of completely misjudge the drop there. But I have definitely done stumping that was a lot more abrasive than this. They say it looks a little boring. Well, so is digging up stumps. And so is sitting right here with a hammer. Going tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Sometimes you just got to do the projects that come along to keep the wheels turning. Just because you've never seen it done one way does not mean it's not the not a way to do it. how stuff used to be done back in the old days. We didn't have all this nice fancy equipment. That one's going to be a little difficult to break because it's in the mud there. Really the only downfall about this is the stuff right there at the ground level that is in the dirt. It doesn't pack enough resistance to all the transfer of that power goes into mashing it in the mud. But if you can get those big chunks up here on the pile of concrete, oh yeah. Well, we're done for that. There goes my shackle. Huh. Broke it. That was a 17-ton shackle too. Well, we're done balling for today. I don't have another one. Well then there's that. Then there's that. You'll get that on these big jobs evidently. Well, what had happened was, this was the shackle that was on it when I got it, and evidently it just pulled the threads out of there because they no longer grab. I have a smaller one here. This was 1.5 inches. This is 1.25 inches. Maybe that was 1.25 inches. This is a 1 inch. I don't know if it's going to fit on that. I don't think it will. Maybe. Might get me through the day where I can go and order some more. What I probably need to do is just take some of that scrap cable I have, and if this doesn't work, what I can do to buy some time is just get some cable and loop it around here and put about 3 cable clamps on it and just connect it that way, because that one right there is good. All right, well, my grandpa was in the demo business for a many years, and this is definitely a very common thing. All right, let me see if I can get this clamp on there, clevis, and finish breaking this a little bit up here. All right, back in action. Might not be quite so aggressive with it. That's got to last today. I don't need it a whole lot, but I need to finish breaking a few more pieces up here. So, all right, take 2. I was glad I caught that on camera though. Stuff happens. All right, we are back at it. So that the shackle that broke was the shackle that was on the wrecking ball when I got it, and it had previously been used a fair amount. And it was to the point where it would only screw in about 3/4 of the way. And I guess that it finally gave up on those 4 threads that were holding it in. I had it as tight as I could get it, but that's how it goes. So I really didn't have a whole lot left here to break, just these few big pieces. And then I'm going to take that excavator and go ahead and transfer all this back, because it is pretty much processed and ready to run through the crusher. So the whole object of this is to do all your prep work before the crusher gets here, so that you're not sitting here wasting time doing this while a very expensive machine is sitting there on rent and not doing anything. So it's worth the time to sit here and process this stuff so that it is at a sizable size to easily run through the crusher. I may be doing a little bit of overkill, but the few times I've used one in the past, I know that when that thing gets jammed up, production comes to a halt, and sitting here for another hour breaking up concrete does not look that bad when you're inside that thing trying to get a chunk of concrete or rebar out of the drum there on it. So I'm perfectly fine with taking a few more minutes to make sure that the product going in is of a good spec. Back up a little bit, and I'll hit that one time, and then we're good to go on transferring all this over here. I think these videos right here don't give it justice, but the time lapse, when you can look at the pile of big stuff and then see how fast it turns it into crushable size pieces, is when it really does its justice. So, all right, I'm going to hit this a couple more times and put the bucket on and put all this right here so it is ready to be crushed. Set the wiper off, so I am transferring this material back. As you can see, it's broke up nicely into a good crushable size product, and I am making a big stockpile right here for easy load into the crusher, getting it all over here where it's pretty much within reach of the excavator to load out, and picking out any more big long sections of rebar. There's a few in here. Like I said, the crusher can take some. It will definitely take some. It just depends on how much you really want to put in there and gamble on jamming something up. So a few big pieces of concrete in here, just kind of laying those over here to the side. That was a long strand of rebar, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna probably load it with the 220, so when it comes down to it, I can just grab that and throw it to the side. But all in all, there's not a whole lot of rebar left in that. But that piece right there, I know it doesn't look like it, but if you stretched it out, it was about 8 feet long. And that is that's about the perfect size to get wrapped around the crusher drum and cause a blockage. These little 2 to 3 foot pieces, it'll eat those right up and go out the conveyor. There's a big magnet on there, magnet conveyor. As the finished product comes out, the magnet sweeps over it. And I think I showed you that on Ryan's crusher down there at his place, how it'll grab the pieces of metal and throw them out there to the side. So it does do a very good job cleaning it up, but you just have to be mindful of what you put in there. So I've been working on this for about 30 minutes here, and they're actually going to start on the cabin next week. I'm going to dig the footings for it, so I was talking with the builder that's doing that, and looking forward to getting that project started. It's been about a year in the making, so just takes time to get everything where it needs to be. Windshield wiper. Just enough rain to make it a little hard to see out of everything. I'll spend the time here and get all this stockpiled to probably about the back of the machine, and all that will be ready. And I may go over there and windrow that up a little bit more so that I can break that the next time I come out here a little bit better. But all this right here is just absolute perfect size stuff. That's why I took the time to go through there and break everything up, so that you could, I mean, literally this crusher is big enough you could probably load it with the 330 like that, and by the time I spun back around to get another scoop here, it would be about ready for it. so to kind of separate any of this dirt out from it, and should make a really good product. I'm excited for it to get here. And yes, Charlie is coming up for the first and second day to kind of help me get everything rocking and rolling on that, and kind of get me back familiar with using one of these. I'm going to get rid of that piece of rebar. It's possibly going to fly up and hang up on the machine. Alright, well, I'm going to keep moving this and stockpiling all this material and finish out the day. I'm just going to work it Saturday. Not all day, but come over here and get a little bit more progress made on getting all this stuff ready. It's a little bit tedious project, but the way I look at it, it's pretty much the same as digging up stumps. It's just a little time consuming, and just gotta know what you're doing. Something different. Something different. I will be tired of crushing by the time this is done, though. I can guarantee it. Alright, I will catch you on the next clip. Here in the bottom, kind of digging through everything that I broke up yesterday. And as you can kind of figure, when you break stuff up, you only break the stuff up on the top. So I'm running through here, kind of separating stuff out and taking the bottom and laying it up on the top, so I can run back through here one more time and break all this stuff up. That way I can transfer the pile over a little bit better. Right up there was a bunch of big stuff. As you can tell, it didn't get broke up that good. But this right here, just trying to take it, as you can see, pull those big chunks up from the bottom, lay them up here, and I can break them back up when I come through here again. The range should be over with here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll put the wrecking ball back on and run through here, break all that up, and probably call it a day. And just wanted to make a little bit more progress today. Definitely getting a head start by moving all that over there earlier this morning like I did. Hodgepodge of mess here. Probably don't need all that metal in there. That later. I just want to get this stuff turned up so I can break any more big chunks, and then transfer it over one more time, and it'll be right there in my big windrow. So it's coming along, coming along. This got broke up pretty good. So let's scoop the trash. Kind of a pile of crap right here. figure I'll probably have to go through that with the 220. There's a lot of mess in that. It needs to be picked out. Just I can get the bulk of it moved over there a little closer with this and speed things up. This machine moves it so much faster with this big bucket. This is broke up pretty good. That right there has got some big stuff left in it. Alright, well, I'm going to keep raking this over here, and when the rain stops, put the wrecking ball back on and go through that pile right there and call it a day. Well, it's getting pretty windy out here after the storm, but made good progress. Got all that right there brought over here, put in a stockpile, all that over there transferred up to that edge, and I started transferring that over and dug all that big stuff out and just finished breaking all that. So really all I gotta do is finish going through there, lay that over here, and get that little pile right there. That was some oversized stuff. Got that broke up and should be good to go. A lot of concrete here. Should make a lot of good stone for some road projects. All right, let's get out of here. Good morning, everybody. Back out here this morning. Look like the wind has dried some stuff off. I'm gonna grab the 220 this morning and go over there behind the 330 to that last pile that I just broke up and sort through that a little bit. And then probably go ahead and put the bucket back on the 330 and process through everything that I smashed up before I left the other day. So making good progress. I got that pile over there transferred over first thing this morning and broke the rest of that stuff up, and then came in here and got all this cleaned up and laid over, and I just went up there and broke all that pile up right there as well. So pretty much all I gotta do now is just throw that over one more time, and that is in the pile ready to be crushed. And then this is the last corner right here. Got the wrecking ball on the machines. I'm gonna run through here and break all this stuff up and then go ahead and lay it over here. That way I can kind of pick through it there some more and get the big chunks up on top, get those broken up into a size that fits into the crusher. And that should be about the highlight of today. Not a very exciting day. I may set the time lapse up over there while I process through this pile. Well, not too many videos today, but I was able to get that entire pile right there gone through. Other than that last little bit I'm sitting on, there's a few big chunks in there I need to break up, but all of this I've gone through here today. All of this is ready. It's been broke up, and that pile right there just needs to be brought over into that one. My plan is to run the crusher down that pile. As you can tell, it is a sloppy wet mess out here, so the normal thing to do would be run the crusher out here and, you know, not have to move all this material, but the ground's not going to support that. As you can tell, it barely supports the excavator, and if I drove the crusher out here and crushed it, all that material would be mixed in with this mud, and you would literally defeat the purpose of piling it up out here if you would lose half of it trying to scrape it up. So that's the plan on why all this is getting transferred over to right there. I think one more pass with that right there with the excavator should be good to go. And then I'll have to show you what's next. Fun's not over with yet, but the crusher should be here in about 3 days and we should get started on this right here. Looking forward to turning this into a nice usable product.